Hey, what's up guys? This is Anthony from Anthony's Customs, and for this review, we are looking at the new NECA Ultimate Armored Lost Predator from Predator 2, which is not one that most people will probably be familiar with, but I suspect most of you who collect these things are gonna be interested in collecting this one because it is fairly unique looking, has some really nice features, and generally speaking, NECA did a really good job on it. Now, that being said, there are a few things that are pretty wrong with this thing, and we're going to have to talk about all of that. So let's go ahead and get it off the stand and take a closer look. This thing stands just about 21 centimeters, slightly above that, which makes it pretty close to, let's say, 8 3/8 inches tall. And as you can see, it is slightly different coloring than most of the NECA Predators. Kind of Christmas colored, mostly green and red with a little bit of that standard yellow that you see on most. The armor though is mostly blue with a little bit of gray and a little bit of brown here and there. So it's kind of a nice contrast, pretty unique. And then having that dark blue and gray armor makes the red bits that are on there stand out just a little bit more, so that's a nice look. And then as usual, NECA did a really good job detailing the face and the dress. I mean, it's essentially the same thing you've come to expect from NECA, just with different styling, different details. The core thing is all pretty much what you would expect. There are a couple different heads. We'll just talk about those when we get to the accessory section. For this part, we're just talking about the aesthetic, and as I mentioned, it does look really good. It is your standard NECA fare, and just so that you can see, in case you couldn't tell, on the armor, you have a little bit of a black wash or blue dry brushing. It looks like a black wash to me on top of the, well, blue or black, whichever one you're going to go with. And then again, the detail work is still very, very nice. Even the little bits on there, very clean, very well executed. You can see even on his stripper gear, his fishnets, surprisingly well done for the price point. So aesthetically speaking, this one is as good as any of the other ones, so I'm gonna give it a 9 out of 10. There's room for improvement, sure, but for the price point, it is certainly a good deal. All right, now as far as accessories go, let's talk about the heads. We have the neutral head, which you already saw. We do have one head with the mouth open, which is equally nicely done. Very, very well executed, no problems there. And then we do have one masked or helmeted head, which looks fine. It matches the armor for the most part. Slightly bluer, not quite the exact same, but I suppose that's okay. But the cool thing about this is there is a button on the top of the head, which makes the eyes glow red. And they do that very well, so good job, NECA, on that. We have some interchangeable hands. We have the open hands that come on him in the package, 2 gripping hands, and then one other gripping hand for his throwing star shuriken type thingy. But I still don't know what those are called. Blade thing, yep, that one. It's nicely painted, like it's probably the best painted one they've ever done. And that's it for accessories, except for this really cool sword, which is on his back, and it's just, I mean, as far as swords go, it looks really nice, and NECA did a good job with that. So, decent spread of accessories, probably not the most we've ever seen, but certainly enough. 3 heads, some hands, some grippy things. I think that's good. I will give it an 8 or 9 out of 10. You can pick. You can go with whichever one you like. Let's go ahead and pull this sword out, actually, for the sake of the articulation part of this review. All right, let me actually... Goodness, we're just actually doing a bunch of actual things in order to... Alright, I moved the camera a little bit for this review to see how things would work, and so whatever, you don't care. Alright, so for the head, lots of range, side to side. You can give that guy some attitude. He's got that angry teenager look right there. And of course, it does pop off. It's a straight peg on top of a ball peg, and that is good that it comes off relatively easily. I was applying a lot of force. You're gonna get all your range out of there, and of course your swivel up here or down there doesn't really matter how that ends up being, but you get good range on that ball peg for sure. He can look up pretty far for being a Predator, and also pretty far down, so apparently it pops off too easily now. I guess just the peg's not that long. Story of my life. It's fine. Like, it's not loose by any means. It's just as you're trying to pose it, you might be applying, because you can put a lot of leverage on here, you might be applying enough force to pop it off. I don't count that as a problem. Like I said, it's not loose by any means. Like, it's not going to come off on accident other than when you're prying it, so that's okay. Be careful when you're posing this guy. He's got lots of, well, he's got some tubers going on right here, and some armor here, and some armor here, and it's all loose-ish, but it is connected at some point, and you don't want to wreck it, so be aware of that. We do have his little blaster up here, which appears to be connected on some sort of ball peg up top and at the bottom. I wouldn't mess with that a whole lot. It's very tiny and feels fragile, and it looks good the way it is, so I would leave it, but you can move it around if you want to. Shoulder pads are connected to the arms. Let's see how they function. Arms work no problem going all the way up. Full rotation is fine. Bicep swivel is also fine. That's good. As far as the elbows go, they both function better than 90 plenty. That is good. You get a wrist swivel at the gauntlet, and of course you get one at the wrist with a hinge in each hand, so that's all pretty standard. For the torso, at least a single, could be a double. Really good range. That's one of their better ones for sure. The waist seems to mostly just be a swivel. Now be aware, this does connect at the bottom. It looks like it's made to connect at the top, but it connects at the bottom. So if you do pose him by turning the upper body, this will not go with it, and that is not really ideal. I get why they did it, but it's not great for posing purposes. This is a soft and floaty piece, so that won't get in the way for the hips. The hips can go, because these are loose pieces. Yeah, he can pretty much do full-on splits, which is definitely a trait most predators need. So that's good. Now bringing the leg forward. I can't do it on this leg. It doesn't want to go. Don't want to risk breaking it. Bringing this leg forward, it's loose. I don't know how they managed that since they're still using the old joint style. Not a good design. It's not floppy loose, but it's not very tight. I don't know what's going on. I can't tell. Maybe it'll free up at some point, but at this point it doesn't feel like it wants to work. For the knees, we just have standard hinged knees. There's no swivel built in, and that gives you plenty of range, so that's good. No problems there. And then for the ankles, you have just a decently effective ball peg that's not too loose. So I take it back. The thing that I thought was going to be the most problem is the hips, and it is, but it's not that bad, and I'm guessing that's just going to be mine. I doubt you guys are going to have the same exact issue because that doesn't seem like a manufacturing issue. So I take everything back that I said that was really bad. It's just the hips that are still not good, but they're not that big of a deal. It's not like he's going to fall over or anything. He just, on mine, it would have some problem with posing and that kind of thing, and you guys probably won't suffer the same issue. So this is still definitely a bit of an issue, but not that big of a deal. So I'm going to say that for articulation, this guy, for a predator, they did a pretty good job. From here up, for sure, it's all fine. Knees are good, ankles are good. I'll give it a 7 or 8, I guess. I don't know. You can pick whichever one you like. And now it's time for the final verdict. As far as NECA's predators go, this is one of them. It suffers basically the same general sort of issues, but they did do a lot better job with the articulation. The paints are as clean as ever. They did a really good job with that blue-black armor. The Christmas-colored predator looks really good underneath the armor. For what it is, and if you are collecting these things, you know what you're getting. I'm going to say 8 to 9, 8.5 or 8.5. We'll go with 8.5. That seems like a good call. It's a definite solid release, few issues, but nothing new as far as problems go. So that's pretty good. Definitely some good new additions there. So thanks for watching, guys. If you enjoyed this video, please do give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down. And if you haven't subscribed, you might want to. I have new videos almost every single day and thousands already on the channel. So make sure you come back for all of that. And in the meantime, keep collecting.